Today we have a very special guest with us, Professor Dr. Shahab Inam Khan. He is in the Faculty of Security and Strategic Studies of International Relations Department of Jahangirnagar University. Sir, Assalamu alaikum. How are you, sir?
I'm well.
Yeah.
Everything is fine.
So today we are here to talk about you and gather some insights, crucial insights from you regarding the relation between India and Bangladesh that is ongoing in the current phase of political issues. So in terms of our Bangladesh nationality, we can see a common picture that the most people of Bangladesh have anti-India sentiment. So do you think that the Indians also have the same kind of mindset, anti-Bangladeshi mindset?
I think this is a very binary way of seeing, but definitely there has been a resentment against India being close collaborator of Awami League, and since August 5th, there is there is no statement or any kind of realization in the case of the BJP government to recognize what happened, and so many people died. And there has been an absolutely U-turn in Bangladesh's politics. And I think that is one key issue that India lacks in what we call empathy, or perhaps understanding the reality. And they see it from a very religious prism. They see it from a terrorism prism or extremism, so on. But what is missing in this particular discussion is the recognition of the change. I mean, they now recognize by saying that interim government is there, Dr. Yunus is there, but certainly we don't see that political synergy is very much there to recognize what has happened. So I think the question is then whether it is an anti-India sentiment. I don't think so. I think that there is a resentment, but that's a very strong resentment, which has been a cumulative effect of the Muslim issues in India, then all the pending issues, whether it is water or the border or so on. And I think that has become a major issue. That has created the force behind the anti-India understanding or resentment. So I think that is one issue. Second, many Bangladeshis see Awami League as a synonymous to BJP, or BJP as the greatest supporter of Awami League, and we get to see that quite often too. Even if you look at the Indian politicians, if you look at the Indian media, I mean, apparently looks like this Bangladesh doesn't have any other political party leadership, or in fact common sense brain brain across the Bangladeshi society. So apparently that also tells me that that kind of media bankruptcy or the policy bankruptcy, or rather if you say that political paralysis in India is perhaps a big problem for us. But on the other hand, do I see anti-Bangladeshi sentiment in India? I don't think that is absolutely correct, but the way Bangladesh has been projected since last August, I think there is a growing sentiment against Bangladeshis. And if you look that Bangladeshi tourists wanted to go to many places, and I heard that Siliguri and few other places, the hotels refused to give them rooms. And then of course you see the visa regime. Visa is still not functional for Bangladeshis except for the medical visa. And often you get to see the whole thing that Bangladeshis are demonized in the public sphere by the politicians. And I think that is creating a major polarization between Bangladeshis and Indians in terms of mass population, and that's very worrying, because today or tomorrow I think there will be a change in Indian politics. I mean, there will be more liberal people who may come. I mean, if they come, then what we are going to see is basically a greater possibility of a greater relationship between Bangladesh and India. Now, what happens in between, that if this sort of polarization happens, in future we will have difficulties in trade, people to people contact, the confidence on social relationship, cultural relationship, and everything. So I don't think this is a great idea to demonize for Bangladeshis in the case of Indians, or in the case of Indians, Bangladeshis. So I think the problem lies is in the political myopia that I get to see in Delhi, and that is causing a terrible difficulties between these two countries.
So, after Sheikh Hasina has fled away, she has done a tremendous disaster in the system, in the political overall picture of the Bangladesh. So, after all this misgovernance, after all this corruption she has done, what do you expect from India to do with her?
You see, I mean, India should have really come forward when the government changed. I mean, the current interim government certainly has its weaknesses, without any doubt. I mean, it's not a very political government, it's a very much civil society driven government. So now what happens with the civil society sort of government, these are very temporary. I mean, they cannot really correspond to political needs of both the countries. So therefore, it is a common sense that Bangladesh needs to return to election as soon as possible and hand over the power to an elected government. But the entire process between August 5th and the possible future elections, I mean, India could have lent its usual relationship with Bangladesh, which they maintained with the Awami League regime, or previously with BNP and other regimes too. So I think this is one unique quandary in history, that BJP suddenly became blank from August 5th onward. And really, and as I mentioned, that political paralysis is very much there between these two countries. So I would strongly suggest that India should move forward with the current regime or the future regimes. It is good for them, good for us, because in Indian economy, Bangladesh's contribution is immense. I mean, we are the largest trading partner for them in South Asia, and I think that is quite understandable how we contribute. Our people are going there. What they're not, I mean, the public discourse often forget to tell that, you know, Bangladeshis are going there, buying things, paying for hospitals, studies and everything, tourism, which means our hard currencies are going to the Indian economy too, right? And Indians are working here. And if you look at the interim government's many statements, where you have seen that a number of Indian people are actually working on tourist visa, right? Yeah. And if you look at Bangladesh's access to Indian market, I mean, non-tariff barriers between these two countries are still in civilized world is very high. So what it means that Bangladesh could have really benefited from 1.4 billion population of India. And India's relevance in international politics is because of its 1.4 billion population, not anything else. So 1.4 billion population, whether it is Elon Musk or our Boshundara or Transcom or whatever companies that we, Beximco, whatever companies we have, they could have done a massive benefit from Indian market. Our RMG industries could have make a lot out of Indian market. So what happens that India's interest in global countries to come and invest, and when you look at Bangladesh's investment in India, there's a sharp mismatch. But whereas you can see that Bangladesh's contribution to American economy, European economy, through RMG, through other projects, is pretty high. And the relationship between Bangladesh and China, I think, I mean, maybe my friends in India can really learn from China too, because on the 5th of August, everything happened. 6th, 7th of August, you get to see that Chinese are doing business as usual. Over the past 7 months of interim government, what you have seen that the Chinese became the largest investor in Bangladesh, despite changes in the government, right? why did they do that? They did it because economy should not be securitized, economy should not be politicized, and that's the massive problem that we have in South Asia, that we make our market, our economy politicized and securitized, and the result is, you know, nobody cooperates with each other. So this is another problem, and the last issue that I think when this gap is being politicized, that Bangladeshis and Indians, I think the onus lies with the politicians too, whether it is in India or Bangladesh. They really have to work hard to make sure that you may have the political differences, but that should not affect the social contact between Bangladesh and India. And that's where I think the major affliction has been done.
Thank you so very much for your time, sir, and we are honored to be with you. So, dear viewers, we had a wonderful time with our honorable guest, and we hope you really enjoyed it. The insights we have achieved from this session, I hope you have liked it. Thank you very much. Stay tuned with the 10-minute fact check.